Hey everybody, welcome. Jose here from Northern California Grooming Academy. Today we'll be discussing the 5 things you should focus on in order to become more efficient as a groomer. We all know that groomer that's around 60, 70 years old and they still groom 10 to 12 dogs. They probably mastered all of these that we're about to talk about. And on top of that, they were probably bathers for so many years before they even started grooming. Whenever you see an old school groomer that's been doing this for three to 4 decades, if you ask them how long they were bathing, there's a big chance they bathed for like maybe 3 to 4 years before they started grooming. Number 1 on the list, we have systems. Create a system that's going to work for you, that's going to be efficient as well too. So you want to be able to do a dog from start to finish the same way on almost every dog. There is going to be exceptions on some dogs that you have to work differently with them, whether it's puppies or older dogs. But for the most part, the average dog that comes in that's good, you should have a way to start that dog and to finish that dog, and it should apply the same for every dog pretty much. The more you make it a system, the easier it is for you to focus on the areas that you need to focus on more, whether it's a handling situation or a puppy, old dog, aggressive dog. For example, when they come in, I'll do the ears and the nails, or sometimes I'll leave the nails for the end, but I'll always ears before the bath, and then put cotton balls in the ears, bathe them, dry them. But then even when I'm bathing and drying, I still do it the same way on almost every single dog. So even when I'm drying, I start in one section and I end in another section. Like I have the same sections that I go over and over and over with every single dog. Same with the haircut. So try to create a system that works for you, that's gonna make sense. Don't go back left leg and then like Chris Corner with legs. Try to make it to where it flows with the dog too, so you don't have to be going across the table, around the table as well. So try to make it efficient and try to make it to where you could do it consistently as well. All right, next on the list, we have dog handling. It's a topic that we could talk about for a very long time, but when it comes down to becoming efficient, you want to be able to handle different types of dogs. When you have a lot of dogs to do, you have to know how to be able to maneuver around most of them when you're grooming. Now, in some dogs, you'll be able to work faster, and some of them you have to work slower. So you have to kind of pick on which ones you're gonna do first. Move them around, look at your schedule. When it comes down to the handling part, you should be able to know how to do different body parts in many different ways. So if you are working on a certain leg, let's say the front left leg or front right leg, you should be able to do that specific leg in at least 3 to 5 different ways minimum, just in case you have a dog that jumps around too much or lays down too much or doesn't want you to touch that leg because they're gonna bite. If you only know one way, you're gonna be stuck there 10 to 15 minutes per leg. You don't wanna be stuck in situations like this. So look around, ask other groomers, hey, what are the ways that you would do this leg? And then they might show you one way, another one might show you another way, and practice them all. You never know when you're gonna need it. When you know how to handle different dogs, some, like I mentioned, are gonna take longer than others. Don't use restraints on all dogs. If you use groomers helpers on all dogs, then you're not doing yourself a favor. You're actually making things harder on yourself. So most newer groomers, when they say, hey, how do you do this? All the videos that you see here, if I'm showing one thing, there's videos where I show you 3, 4 different ways on how to do certain things, the same exact thing. But when you're using a groomer helper on every dog, that specific dog might be good for one, but then if you use it on another dog that feels that restraint, that stresses them out, there's a chance that dog's gonna fight you a lot more than if you knew how to hold this dog or work around it better than having to use a groomer helper. Sometimes an Elizabeth collar, or in some cases, the muzzles or something else. But don't always use the same restraint on all dogs. That's just not gonna work. So try different things on different dogs. Belly bands as well, dogs that sit down, but you also have to be careful with those because sometimes if it's an older dog or a dog that's super overweight, you don't know how much pressure you're putting in that area that could actually affect the dog too. So you have to keep that in mind too. There's a lot of things that could happen. So every dog is different. Use different restraints. Learn how to use different restraints properly, but also keep the dog's safety in mind as well. By you guys understanding how to work with different dogs, with different restraints, with different techniques, that is going to give you more confidence so that the day that you have dogs that you haven't done before, you will figure out that dog and you're going to be able to communicate better with that dog and with the customer. And then let's say an aggressive dog that came from a salon because he got kicked out. You work with him and you do things properly. By the 3rd visit, that dog's probably going to be a completely different dog than from the 1st visit. But that's if you do things properly and you communicate well with the dog, you give them the respect. This doesn't mean that every dog that comes in, you have to baby them. There's some dogs that are too aggressive, or if you have a dog that's super nervous, or let's just say you have a dog that's super excited, a puppy, and you come in and everybody wants to play with the puppies and get them all excited. Well, if you're about to do that before the groom, that dog's going to be super excited for the rest of the groom. And now you just added more time to your haircut too. So you always have to keep those things in mind too. Next on the list, we have prep work. If you don't do your prep work correctly, your haircuts are never going to be as good as they could be. So if you don't bathe the dog properly, the dog is not going to dry great. They might not even straighten out that coat great. It's going to come out curly. Then when you get to that haircut, you're going to pass the clippers through. 3 days later, the hair's going to be all uneven because some areas got straightened out, some areas didn't, so the hair was still curly. So the curly area didn't get it as short because when all the hair settles, that curly hair straightens out a little bit, and the ones that you got shorter because it was straight. So the hair's going to be all uneven if you don't do good prep work. So it all begins in the prep work. For me, myself, I like to do the ears before the bath so that if I do it at the end of the haircut, when they're done and I send them home, I'm going to get the ear cleaner around the hair. And I still have to put cotton balls before the bath, and I have to put them on after the bath. So might as well get them done before the bath. That's just makes more sense for me to do it before, so that I don't have to do my job 3 times. Before the bath, after the bath, and then after the haircut. I'd rather just get it all done. By the time they go home, the ears are dry and clean and cleaned out really well. That's just my preference when it comes down to prep work. Lathering them up really well. If you lather them up really well and you rinse them 100% completely to where they're squeaky clean, your drying process cuts down by a lot. So you prep them good, you bathe them good, they dry correctly and a lot faster, and use your high velocity dryers efficiently so that it opens up most of the hair so you don't have to brush as much. So if you use the high velocity dryers correctly, if you have good high velocity dryers, that cuts your brushing time by, I'd say, more than 50% in my opinion. So when it comes down to the fluffing part, all you have to do is just maybe a little bit on the head, the muzzle, and the paws, maybe the tail, and you're set. Haircut flies by. The haircuts are just going to go down completely. I mean, the haircuts are going to go by a lot smoother, a lot faster, without any issues. So this ties in perfectly into the next topic, which is tools and equipment. You need to have the right tools and the right equipment to get the job done better. Now, I'd say for myself, if I worked construction or people who work construction, if you go to Home Depot and you get the Ryobi brand, which those are perfect brands to have from home, but the real construction guys, they have like DeWalt and Milwaukee and Hilti and all these other brands. Well, it's the same thing when it comes down to grooming. You want to get the tools that make your life a lot easier. So for example, you want to have a tub where you could put little dogs and you don't have to be bending down and far to get into the tub to bathe this dog because they're hiding in the back corner. You want to get one that has razors, or the tub should it could be electric where it goes low and high so that you could do small dogs, big dogs. You want a tub with a ramp that could fit a big Newfie or a little tiny dog. You want to get one that's going to be good for your body. And one that, if it's a 4-foot or 5-foot tub, you could fit 2 to 3 small dogs at the same time. Now, no, don't put dogs that are not within the same family that might fight. Keep in mind that could happen. But if you do, you could fit 3 dogs in there. That makes it a lot more efficient too. Dryers, get high velocity dryers that are really well. Myself personally, I love double Ks. Once I switched to double Ks, we blow out coats, we demat dogs so much faster. They're super strong. There's different dryers. We prefer the extremes. You guys could always check them out too. There's another brand, K92s. Those are really good dryers, and they're easy to maintain as well. And you could also, all you got to do is switch brushes on those too. So whoever sharpens your shears, usually they could actually do this too if you don't have somebody that could do it for you. When it comes down to tools and you're grooming these dogs, if you're doing a lot of big dogs, you should invest in wide blades now that they exist. They've been around for a couple years now. By using those, you're doing the haircuts about 20% faster because you're getting that much more hair than the regular blades, the regular A5s. So you can invest in some of those, some wide blade combs or attachment blades. When it comes down to shears, if you're using only straights and thinners, you should invest in maybe some chunkers, some curved thinners, some curves, so that if you're doing a lot of lines where you have to make round trims like on top knots or the top of the heads or the feet, get some curves so you have to do a lot less snipping to get that curve done. If you're doing 10 dogs and it takes you 10 snips per top knot on one side, well, that's 100 snips versus if it takes you 3 to 4 snips to do that top knot, it's taking you 30 to 40 snips to get that done. So you're doing 60% less work on that too. So you could think of it that way too. Especially when you're newer, you want to learn how to be more efficient. So you have to pay attention to these things too. Next on the list, it's probably the most important one, the one that's going to allow you to do more and the one that's going to make sure that you don't wear yourself out too much. It's ergonomics. you want to take care of your body. So whatever table you have, whatever tub you have, whatever tools you have to be able to use them to where it makes sense for your body, to where you're not always bending down and your back is being used. If you're doing a haircut where the dog is too high and your arm is always up, or you're clipping up this way, now you're using a lot of your shoulder, you want to be able to put your arms in a spot where you're comfortable and you're not using too much of your shoulder muscles, or where you're not bending down to do nail trims all the time. So you have to pay attention to these things. Invest. If you have a table that's a fold-up table that doesn't go up and down, get some razors that you could get at like Target or Home Depot, put them on each leg, under each leg, and you could raise it up 10 to 12 inches, I believe. I do that, or use a chair to groom the dog. But don't be bending down the whole haircut. If you're doing 5 of those a day or more, your back is going to be killing you. By the end of the week, you're going to have to use all weekend to recover. So you have to observe those things as well. If you're doing nail trims and you have one leg that you have a hard time with, well, make sure the other 3 legs, you do them with your posture as good as you can, with your back as straight as you can. Get them all done so that you know that there's that one leg that you have to do that's going to require a little bit more of your body movement to like bend down a little bit. Pay attention to those things. If you could avoid as much back bending as you can, that goes a long way too. You'll be in less pain. You'll be able to do more dogs in the long run, especially if you start on a Monday. By Friday, if you're not paying attention to these things and using your back a lot, by Friday, you're going to be super exhausted. So observe yourself, pay attention to your shoulders, your back, the way you're standing all day. You know, get a nice mat where you could stand on it all day. Especially if you're standing all day, you don't want to be standing on a hard surface all day. It's just going to hurt. Get some comfortable shoes. But yeah, that's very important. Pay attention to your body. Don't wear it out too much. Remember, there's carpal tunnel that you could get also when you're scissoring these dogs, clipper work. Observe all these things and make adjustments where needed. All right, guys, so those are the top 5 I have on my list in order to become more efficient. Create a really good system. Remember, if you could break down a leg into more sections and the body into more sections, the more sections you could bring it into, and you say, hey, every leg takes me 10 minutes, how can I get it down to 5 minutes, and pay attention on what's holding you back, then do it. You do 3 passes on the clippers and then you have to scissor around the whole body, you're wasting your time. So either do 1 pass and scissor up the body, or do 3 passes to where you just have to scissor the feet, tail, head, ears, and you're done. Pay attention to that as well. Same with the dog handling. The more dogs you can handle with different techniques, the faster you'll get. Same with prep work. The better your prep work, the smoother the process is from bathing, drying, and haircuts. And then also with tools and equipment. Get the right tools, the right equipment. Use different techniques, learn different techniques on how to use them. Get good equipment that's going to help you dry these dogs a lot faster to where you could bring the dogs high and low if needed. Same with ergonomics. Take care of your body. Make sure that you're paying attention to how you're grooming these dogs. Pay attention to the equipment you have around you and the tools you have, and use them as properly as you can by learning a whole bunch of different techniques in each one of them, whether it's clippers, shears, tables, whatever it is. All right, guys, that's it for today. We appreciate you guys. If you want to become a groomer, check out our school. If you're a groomer and you want to sharpen your skills, check out our online videos. And also, if you are interested in any tools or equipment, check out our online store. All links will be in the description. If you have any questions on these topics, go ahead and put in the comments below. We'd be happy to answer any. If you got some value out of this video, please like and subscribe. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time.